All right. Peace and greetings, YouTubers. Oh, Donald Trump and this administration. Boy, I tell you, each day is a new story, ain't it? Every time you wake up, it's some new stuff they done collaborated on and put together. Just something else to mess up everybody else's life. It's almost like Donald Trump is in his bed at 3 and 4 in the morning after he's finally done doing that Twitter thing. And he's kind of just like, what can I mess up today? What else can I mess up today? I just have such a good... You know what? Let's go after poor people again. Let's go after poor people again. Yeah. Call Sarah. Tell her to do a press conference. Like, we have an announcement. So, if you don't know, Donald Trump has a new proposed budget. It's like a $4.4 trillion budget. I'm not even going to talk about that figure because, you know, I could have swore this was the same party that was so conservative about we're spending too much money. Now you want to spend $4.4 trillion, and a lot of that money is going to some BS. But anyway, as a part of this budget, what they want to cut is they want to pretty much restructure how the SNAP program works. The SNAP program is pretty much the food stamp program. It helps 16 million families across the United States make sure that they have food on their table. And so what they're looking to do is, rather than have the food stamp program where it's pretty much like a voucher and it's pretty much you can get on like a, you know, like your card and everything like that, and you can go and shop at your leisure for what it is that you need to feed your family or feed yourself. Instead, they're going to go the whole Blue Apron method, and you'll get boxes that are shipped to your house monthly, and it'll give you all that you need to eat as far as the non-perishable items. Now, in this box, there's not going to be fruits and vegetables and you know, produce, because that would go bad. So I'm wondering if there would still be a voucher for produce, and maybe the box is just going to be the non-perishable items. But my issue with that is, when you're buying groceries, the stuff that costs the most are the non-perishable items, the produce, the meats, the dairies. That's where all the milk, that's where all the money goes into. You know, buying a little stovetop box of stuffing and mashed potatoes, that's pocket change. And so really, it's almost like you would end up spending more money doing this little box program and still trying to counterbalance, you know, the other money that would go to paying for produce. Like, I feel like that makes absolutely no sense. No sense at all. But you know what? Nothing in this administration makes sense, so it is what it is. But that's going to be, I don't know. I have a problem with the fact that we live in a country where people who don't have a lot are always punished for not having a lot, as if this country isn't structurally set up for certain groups of people not to have a lot. You know what I mean? There's this narrative that people are poor because they want to be poor, and that's so far from the truth. A lot of people who are not born wealthy are not born wealthy because they weren't born wealthy. Their families weren't wealthy. They probably aren't going to have a whole lot, and their kids ain't going to have a whole lot. And the thing is, when you don't have money, doors are not always open for you. And people are saying, oh, here goes that victimhood mentality, because, you know, the most racist MFers always have a phrase for any marginalized group of people who are talking about the injustices that are happening to them. They always got a phrase for everything. Oh, you pull in the race card, there goes that victimhood mentality. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. But the thing is this, and mind you, and then half of them benefit from so many of the laws and the... First of all, can we pause for 1 second? When you look at the origin of why certain groups of people in this country have what they have, there were so many laws and ordinances and clauses that set America up to be in a position that it is today, where you have groups of people who benefited from things like the GI Bill, where, you know, if you were a white person in the military, you got so much money for, you know, to get approval for loans, to get housing. However, if you're a black person in the military, you did not qualify for that same program, even though you took the same bullet that your white neighbor took. You know, stuff like that. And the redlining, and people weren't allowed to live in certain parts of town, and then people couldn't get approved. Like, it's just so many laws. And, like, I'm going to save it for the podcast. I'm going to do that when I get the podcast launched. Like, literally, I can pull up a good 30, 40, 50 different clauses and laws specifically that were created to keep certain groups of people from having anything, that specifically made sure that certain groups of people would always be poor. Like, it's crazy when you read about the laws that were in place and some that are still in place. Like, everything that, especially in the early 1900s, a lot of those laws that were set up currently have everything the way it is now. But going back to my main point, I just find it jacked up that people who don't have a lot are always constantly punished, and they have to receive the punitive enforcement for being in a position that they're in. It's like, you know, and that's the society that we currently live in. And I'm tired of people who constantly judge people who don't have everything, because the main ones always talking, oh, well, you know, blah, 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 blah. I'm in the grocery store, my tax dollars are paying for them to eat, and they're at the grocery store buying lobster tail. My question is, why is that if somebody doesn't have a whole lot, they got to eat the shitty food? Why they can't have a nice meal too? You know, think about it. If you work in 2 or 3 jobs because they don't pay enough, and you got to be at 2 or 3 jobs that absolutely suck, you get talked down to all day by some supervisor that isn't even smarter than you. They just had a better deck of cards of life to play with, and so they got, you know, anyway, you got to go to these crappy jobs. Then you finally get home. You got to feed them little loud-ass kids that's running around, don't know how to sit down, don't know how to be quiet, everything like that. Help the kids with their homework. Maybe you're in night school trying to get yourself together. Hell, go on and get you some lobster tail. You done worked real hard. Get you some lobster tail because you earned it. But people are so gung-ho about my tax dollars are paying for you to have this. And I think that's a mentality where people need to humble the fuck down. Because first of all, if you want to talk about how much of your tax dollars goes to pay for something like the SNAP program, can we break down the current U.S. budget? 6% of the United States budget goes to different programs like HUD and welfare and SNAP. But when you really break down everything, only 1% of our national budget goes to the SNAP program. 1% of the national budget goes to making sure that people can eat and that people have food on the table, all right? Now, I'm not going to talk about the 2/3 that go to making sure that we keep blowing up these little kids that are sleeping in their bed in the Middle East. Y'all don't have a problem with that. You sleep good knowing that your tax dollars are going to bomb somebody's little school over in Kuwait or, well, I guess that's an ally, over in Pakistan or wherever. You know, you don't mind letting the bombs go and blow up all these random people over in East Africa. You don't mind that. You sleep good knowing that mess is going on. But it pisses you off that your $36 a year goes to making sure that somebody eats, because that's how much of your tax dollars are going to the SNAP program annually if you're making $50,000 a year. $36, okay? $36 is just a date at the movies, okay? That's 2 tickets, and if you're like me and you're still using your college ID to get in the movie theater because you still look the same from 10 years ago, 2 tickets, 1 popcorn to share, and 2 small sodas. That's 1 date at the movies. That little trip that you missed out on 1 date at the movies, that's what's going to make sure that somebody else gets to eat. You know, why is that bothering you? Like, my thing is this. I don't mind some of my tax dollars going to help other people. Hell, $36 here. Go eat your heart out. Like, I don't understand why so many people are so gung-ho about certain things like that. You know, 6% of our budget's only going to education. That's not a whole lot. But again, you guys don't mind letting a whole bunch of money go to overfunding the military. Trump wants to have a whole parade specifically for the military. And when you think of the millions that's going to cost, that's pretty much half of the SNAP budget right there. But y'all want to have a military parade with tanks, and y'all want to march and come out with the trumpets and America. All, you know, you don't mind tax dollars going to that BS. You don't mind your tax dollars going, $20 billion going to a wall. I'm like, are y'all serious? If people want to get in this country, they're going to get in here whether there's a wall or not. All right? When people are determined, they're going to get to what it is they want to be or where they want to be. Just, are you serious? You know what I mean? Just like, get it together. And these are supposed to be evangelical Christians. I'm just like, you know what? The universe has a way of balancing things out. Things always balance out at the end. So, you know, when it's all said and done and y'all got to go talk to Jesus about all the shit that you did on this planet, y'all have fun. I'm going to be watching on the sidelines, just watching. Yep, Jesus, he was the one that said black people didn't need to be getting no free college. That was him right there. And he was the one that said that women and everything, they didn't need money for contraceptives and stuff like that. That's what he said. God. Yep. This was the one who voted to close all the schools in the inner city. And yeah. That one right there, Jesus. Yeah. Go ahead, push the button. You want me to push the button so they can drop? Okay. Like, I just think people need to humble down. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be in a position to be so worried about what other people don't have that it pisses you off when they get a little piece of something. You know what I mean? And the thing is, I really thought that after like 2008, a lot of people would have got really humble. Because a lot of the main people before 2008 who were talking all to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and stuff, you know, when that recession hit and they lost them pensions and 401ks, and a lot of them tried to pull the money out of the stock market or pull out their 401k and forgot all about the 59.5 rule. So then half the 401k was automatically penalized, and then you started to pay taxes on it and everything like that. Listen, they were the first ones jumping out of windows. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as the thought, and just to have to even fathom the idea of not having a whole lot, they couldn't even process it. They jumping out of windows and jumping head first too. They were making sure gravity did its job. No remnants of survival. Absolutely not. Head first. You know what I mean? But then those are the same people who have the most to say about people who don't have anything, and they think that the reason that people are poor is because they're lazy or they don't have any drive. Oh, they're rigging the system. They got a story for everything. Mind you, they were born into privilege, or they were born into something where their parents already had something, so they just pass it off on to them. But it's absolutely terrible. And the part that's gonna get me, apparently with this delivery, the deliveries are gonna come. You're gonna get your delivery once a month, where it's the blue apron box with the mashed potatoes and stuffing. And so for sure, them deliveries are gonna be so delayed when it comes to the areas where black people live at. The shipments ain't even gonna be coming in, okay? The plane that was supposed to go to Detroit crashed. The train that was supposed to get to Atlanta was canceled. One, it's Atlanta, so ain't nothing going over there. Too many black people over there. Baltimore, You know that one is the train, I don't know, the bus crash. Because, of course, you know, one of the things with this whole budget deal, he wants to also make, like, the parkways be privately funded rather than the state and federal government paying for it. So, of course, it's going to be potholes galore over there. So the bus is going to be crashing, or the truck's going to be crashing with all the food in it. And then, you know, they're going to still send Sarah Huckabee Sanders do that press conference and lie to the American people. I don't know what you're talking about. They all got their food. And, you know, the more she lies, the higher this eyebrow right here goes. I don't know if y'all noticed, but every time you watch her, this eyebrow right here is so high. It's like going to the back. Like, it doesn't want to be on TV. Like, the eyebrow knows that she's saying some bullshit, and it doesn't want to be on TV. So it's like moving up, and eventually it's going to be on the back of her head, so it don't got to be seen. But it's like the more she lies, the higher that eyebrow goes. And she'll be on there talking about, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Detroit got their food. Baltimore got their food. Atlanta got their food. You know, it's up to them what they do with it. You know, you use it to your discretion. If your shipment didn't come in, you wait till the next month. You know, you ask your neighbor. Like, I can just see the nonsense they're going to say. And you know the group that really is going to suffer, but I almost don't even feel bad for? Working class white Americans. Because, you know, they're the biggest recipients of the SNAP program. They're the biggest ones taking the biggest chunk out of the food stamp program. But they were also the ones who really came in droves to vote for Trump. And don't be fooled, because there was a whole lot of white-collar, wealthy people that voted for Trump as well. But what gets me is that poor blue-collar working class white American that broke their necks because they loved what Trump was saying about the Mexicans and the Muslims and the black people this, and oh, you didn't stand for the national anthem, we're gonna drain the swamp and crooked Hillary and blah 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 blah. They loved all that crap and voted for it. Now y'all about to be hungry. Now y'all got to eat off faith and hope. You're gonna be hungry, and don't knock on my door, because I'm gonna listen. Because my thing is this: once again, everybody else who's in the same financial predicament as you has to be collateral to your BS because y'all voted on racism and xenophobia and Islamophobia and everything else evil. And again, because apparently y'all are evangelicals. But like I said, y'all have no problem going over and blowing up little kids over in the Middle East. You have no problem doing that. No problem blowing up people in East Africa. You know what I mean? No problem taking it and doing whatever it is you did to the people in Haiti. No problem with that at all. Sleeping good at night. Sleep under nice warm place. Knocked out. Meanwhile, 10,000 miles across the water, everybody getting blown up, and you sleeping good. No problem with that. But then y'all felt some kind of way about, you know, certain groups of people in this country having something, and you just had to vote and make sure, you know, Trump, he's going to change that. He's going to really straighten them out. And now you straight and hungry, starving. It's going to be a mess if y'all shipment don't come in. I tell you, when I tell you this is the party of nope, this is really the administration of nope. It's just like, hey, you know, I'm a high school student. I just graduated. I have a 4.0 perfect SAT score, but I need $2,000 for my tuition. I just need $2,000. Is there a Pell Grant? Nope. Canceled. We cutting that. You know, I'm a bartender. I'm pregnant. I don't have the best health care. Am I going to get adequate health care so I can have a healthy delivery? Nope. Do that shit in the bathtub. Just, hot mess. This is going to be a real interesting, term. The next 3 years will be real interesting to see where things go. And then, listen, y'all will probably reelect this man. Y'all probably will. He'll be right in there after 2020 because I don't really see a candidate that's strong yet in 2020 yet. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. And again, I just think we have to get in the habit of understanding that there's going to be people who are always going to be in need. There's going to be people who are always supposed to, basically my thing is this. If you were apparently, if you are the moral person that you think you are, it shouldn't bother you that maybe a small percentage of your money or what you bring in goes to help somebody. Because at the end of the day, all of us have gotten helped by somebody's tax dollar at some point. Just the road that you're driving on, somebody's tax dollar paid for that. You know what I mean? The schools that your kid went to, you might not have been the wealthiest person on your block, and it might have been your richer neighbor whose property taxes really helped to fund your child to go to a better school. And you still got a problem with a little bit of your money going somewhere. But then again, y'all have no problem with, 2/3 of our budget being spent on the military. I don't get it. If we would stop trolling all these different countries, we wouldn't have to spend so much money to protect ourselves. You know what I mean? Y'all don't got a problem with that. I'm like, what we could do in this country if we didn't spend so much money blowing up people? And this is no diss to those who are serving. I respect anybody who's willing to take a bullet for this country because I certainly ain't doing it. So thank you for fighting for the rights that I allegedly have. I don't know how my freedom is all the way over in Afghanistan, but thank you for going over there to protect it. But my God, this is one administration here. Anyway, share your 2 cents. I'm out. Go ahead.